Hey, welcome to Mod PRs with Bear. Uh, I don't know where the other mods are, and we're having trouble finding a time to do it all together, so I'm just gonna do this, and if they don't like the tiers, they can redo it with some other time, but I'm not sure I'm gonna have time later. So here are my tiers, and this way at least Hatterene gets a set of tiers for everyone. Um, I will say I'm probably biased, and if you drafted him on I don't like, or I think is overrated, I will probably rate you a little bit lower. And obviously, I'm going to rate myself pretty high. That's why I would have preferred to do this with another mod, but none of them they all seem to be pretty busy. So, figure we'll start left to right, and we'll start with Brooks' team. Um, they got the Chiempao, Sceptile, Landorus, Mega Barnacle, Tapu Fini, Arctozolt, Dredagon Metal, and Galarian Soaking. First off, you got a very viable threat in Chiempao that's not a Mega, which really helps a lot since everyone tends to have at least one really threatening Mega, and then you got something really threatening outside of your Mega. Um, you got nice speed with Champao, Sceptile, and Lando. I would have preferred at least one more of the like in the 110 tier, but this is perfectly fine for this. It's no one's gonna be able to run like Modest or Adamant unless they're purposely doing that on you for some reason. You got Mega Barbaracle, which is very scary since we allowed Shell Smash. And Shell Smash is going to go very crazy. Expect a lot of mirror herbs on people to kind of catch you on the Shell Smash turn and then try to turn that around. Tapu Fini is very nice. I forget what Misty Terrain. I think you can't be statused in it. I don't like it doesn't boost like your damage like the other three do. But still pretty nice. Water Fairy is great typing. And then your slower mons, you got Arctozolt and Metal Metal that are kind of hard mons to switch in on. Um, Groudon's like a value dragon pick. And then you got Galarian Slowking, which is the ultimate pivot mon. So all in all, you got pretty nice draft going. Nash Dex makes it a little bit harder for like uh you got a lot of like extra defog mons, so it's kind of makes it a lot easier to draft good removal. So you got Lando, and I believe Fini can remove hazards, and I think Drogon has defog. I would have to look that up, but not positive about that. I don't draft them on that very often, but it's decent team. I don't think it's anything like super crazy, but you got a lot of nice pieces, and there's no like super glaring hole I can see right away. You got some nice cores in there, and you got some good threats with some defensive pivots to kind of like balance them out. Um, so I'd put you in A tier. Not quite S. I'm gonna save myself for then, since everyone knows I'm gonna be biased about that. And then we got Tara's team. Tara's team is honestly very scary. This is probably the most broken mon we allowed in the draft. We allowed some broken mons, and this thing has been allowed for quite a while in our BHA league. So you got Zamazenta Crown, you got Azelf, Ogerpon, Hisuian, Mega Fluette, Petrarunt, Rotom, Blastoise, Tinglu, Drampa, and Dupiter. You got a nice ghost to like block hazards. Your hazard setup with Dupiter and Tinglu, and Azelf and Ogerpon can also help with hazards. Um, you got Mega Fluette, which is incredible value because you got this in the second round, and I'll be honest, I was considering this with my first round pick, but something fell that I thought was even better. So incredible value to pair with Zamazenta. These are going to be insane to have to switch in on and kind of deal with. And then you got nice cleanup crew with Azelf and Ogerpon too. Those two are nice speedy mons that kind of hit hard. Azelf has some other utility, but that's kind of how I view it. And then you got some nice defensive pivots in Petrarunt, Tinglu, even Blastoise is kind of nice as just a bulky water. So the if you had any guesses of where this was going, it was going to be an obviously S tier team. We voted it kind of as unanimously as the scariest team in the draft. So this is going to be the number one pick. Um, and it's just a really well rounded team. You got hard hitters and you got defensive pivots. You got a nice balance of types. Um, something I didn't say. I think Brooks' team. There's a lot of really nice psychic types um, throughout the draft, and you'll see even a psychic terrain team that's going to be also an S tier. Spoiler alert. But I think having a nice bulky dark type is almost a must in this because uh, there's just so many strong psychic types that were top tier, and then we're gonna be super busted, and you just want something that can switch in on those psychic moves. A lot of them also switch in on have fairy, so if you can get a dark steel or dark poison's probably the best. Is a lot of them still have focus blast, and then you're kind of running into the RNG problem. But all in all, very good team from Terra. Very scary. Don't look forward to having to prep for this. So yeah. Um, next up is Idrisili. I probably butchered that super hard. I apologize if I did. Um, you got your semi-electric terrain team with your Tapu Koko, Iron Moth, Iron Treads, Iron Crowned, which honestly very scary. It's going to be kind of a weather or not a weather war, but a terrain war with this team. Luckily, a lot of people have access to defog, so if they try to set up hazards, you're just also taking away the terrain from these guys. Um, and I've run a terrain, Nash Dex terrain teams, and they are quite scary with these Iron Mons. And you end up really like pushing a very offensive team in a way. And you got very offensive Mons and Iron Moth, Iron Treads, and Iron Crown. So it kind of goes into that. Um, you got some nice bulk too with Tornadus, Regenerator, and then your Mega Chestnut. Um, honestly, an underrated Mega. It's going to be very bulky and just kind of sit on the field. You got to be careful of flying types, but you're also an electric terrain team, so um, flying types are going to be scared of you. So all in all, pretty good team. You got some nice hazards. I believe Chestnut gets it. Hydreigon gets hazards. Miltank gets hazards. Iron Treads, I think, gets hazards. And then you got Defog with Torn, Tapu, and Hydreigon. And then you got Rapid Spin, Iron Tread. So you just have so much hazard control that you shouldn't have a problem with any of it. All in all, very good team. I don't think it's quite as scary as the Terrors team, but it is a pretty well balanced team. You got your water, fire, grass core. You got a steel, fairy, dragon core. So you got good switch ins for a lot of types. And nothing off the rip just like screams you have a super weakness to any type. So all in all, very good team. Um, it's probably high end A tier to borderline S, in my opinion, but very well drafted team here. Mm, where's your logo? There it is. I'm gonna put you at the top of A tier for that. Zero Zach is the next team, and I did say earlier that I kind of have prejudices against certain mons. Dragapult's one of those. I think it's a nice utility mon for draft, and it's a little bit overrated though, just because of how fast it is and that nice ghost typing. Um, Problem is it doesn't have a nice physical stab ghost move to use, and then if you're running special, you usually want to like run specs or something to boost the damage since it doesn't have a lot of offensive output. You got Mega Gallade, which is a very nice mega. You got Cinderace, which makes hazard control pretty nice. I love Pheasantipity. It's a great poison defensive pivot. You got Gliscor, another nice defensive mon. A lot of nice defensive mons here. Problem is I think you spent a lot for that Dragapult, and I do want this from you though. uh, it would round out my webs need on my team, but you got Tyranitar, pretty nice. Earthworm's kind of another waste amount of points. The other thing is like your speed tiers are really grouped up. So if you get someone with like a 90, they probably are running Modest or Adamant, and then you got like gaps here where it's um makes running your speed tiers throughout kind of easy to predict and set up. And then as far as like hazard setters, you got Gliscor, Earthworm, and Tyranitar. Again, Earthworm, not a huge fan. It kind of just is setup fodder for people and lets them do whatever. Um, Good Wish Pass Mon here. Regenerator is always nice. Yeah. And then you got Tyranitar, which is adds a nice bit of bulk to your team, but you don't have any other mons that really appreciate the sand, so I don't know what's doing here. So you got a lot of things like I'm not seeing like the synergy of what's going on. And just looking at the types, is there anything that screams that is super weak to? Um, Gonna be honest, you probably don't like ground types here. I know you got Earthworm and Gliscor, both immunities. But again, Earthworm gets beat by some of the ground types, I guess. I guess that's the reason you really drafted Earthworm is because Gliscor, a lot of ground types actually, or at least a lot of my favorite ground types have access to ice moves. And Great Tex, Iron Treads, Donphan all have Ice Spinner. So even if you're switching Gliscor in on them, they can hit pretty hard into you. They even get like Ice Shard, and then so you're just not a huge fan of ground types here. And you got 3 mons that are really weak to it. So it's just something to keep in mind. This Gliscor, I feel like, is going to have to put in work handling all the ground types that you might come across. Otherwise, Earthquake looks pretty free into your team. Is there anything else I would be concerned about? I did mention you want a bulky dark type, and I like that you got a Tyranitar here for that. Problem is unless you're running Unearth, I'm not sure you take it. One, you lose a lot of your bulk if you're not running the Sands thing, and then two, besides Gliscor that you're bringing probably every week, I'm not sure what else really wants to be in on during sand. So you're just needlessly chipping the rest of your team for that. So, um, it's not horrendous to say, but there's a lot of like fluff that I would want to cut out and make some adjustments here. So for those reasons, I'm gonna put you in C tier. I think you are the Absol. Okay. Vortex. Let's see. You got Weavile. This is a team that I think in Nash decks you're gonna want a little bit faster If you notice the other ones, besides the Terra team, but you got Zamazenta, who's fast and bulky. Um, the rest of the teams, you're gonna notice all have a 130 plus speed mon, and that's because there's actually quite an abundance in Nash decks. So I think you might have it run into a problem where every week you're not gonna have the fastest mon, which is going to lead to you having to run Scarf a lot. Um, that's like the first big thing that I noticed. Second thing is I think you want a bulky dark. I've been talking about it before about the other teams. Hydreigon's kind of sus for that bulky dark here. One reason I don't think you're um, in the like S tiers, I'd prefer this Hydreigon to be a different bulky dark and like sub out the dragon um, to another type. Maybe like switch these two out, Miltank and Hydreigon, um, for a what is still available? Um, I think when we were doing the other ones, Drapion was like my favorite of like didn't get drafted dark type. Because it's dark poison, so you're not weak to fairy, not weak to fighting, which a lot of the psychics types get both of those coverage. So it's a great mon. Great typing. The other one is Overquill. I think is also under not drafted. Yeah. So um, I would honestly want to sub those out, and then you can spend a little bit of points to get yourself a different dragon by dropping the um, milk tank. So just something to think about. But back to Vortex. Yeah, same problem here is I think you want a bulky dark. Um, there's a lot of good psychic threats. You even have one of them in Megalodios of like, hey, what is my plan to switch in on a psychic type? Because there's Megalodios, Megalodios, Mega Alakazam, Mega Delphox. All these things need switch ins, and if you don't have a good dark type to switch in on those, you're just going to be eating psychics like no other. Um, and Weavile, yeah, you could switch it in on the prediction, but Weavile has paper thin defenses, so if you get that prediction wrong of it going for a coverage move, you probably have a dead Weavile. So it's just something to think about. As far as like speed tiers, you're kind of a little bit congested here, and you might want to like spread these out a bit. All in all, though, not terrible. I do wish you had like a 130 plus speed, so you're not forced to run like Scarf on all one of these every week. Um, yeah, I like the Mega Clef because it's just like budget Clefable. Um, and you probably bring it and just don't plan on megaing it. It's really nice there. You got nice defogs and Corviknight, Rotom Wash. You got Spinners and Glimora. So all in all, not bad. Now let's look at the typing. Um, looking at it, you might have a slight electric weaknesses because you got electrical weak to electric, weak to electric. I know you have a ground type in Rhyperior here. So maybe you're good. And then Urshifu's water type. Um, again, you don't really like grass types that much either. At least grass types with coverage for flying types. I think you just duped a lot of like mediocre typings. Um, and that I mean like you got two rocks here, you got two flyings. Um, I think that's the big thing is you got two rocks, two flyings, which I like having a flying type. I don't like having too many of them though. So, but I guess Mega Clefable is really just Clefable, so it's just really a fairy type. So you probably ignore that. I would consider getting rid of one of these rock types though, because I'm not a huge fan of having multiple rocks since it's kind of one of the worst types. It's a nice offensive type, but it's just defensively so bad. Um, and I like having a little bit more options there. So all in all, I'm not super loving the team. It's all right. It's not horrendous, and I think that'll be kind of a theme for most of these. Is like, uh, they're never gonna be like super uh bad, especially in Hatterene Division, which is like our second highest division. Y'all know how to draft, so this is just like comparatively to the other ones, it's not as good as the rest. So far, I would probably put you um in C tier, and yeah, I think you would be C tier. Alex, the Dratinis. Okay, you got bundle, and I think you got this super late bundle. You got two Mons over 130. Really nice there. I think Aerodactyl is actually a really nice pick. For 5 points, it was a nice value pick you got there. Um, let's see. Steel Flying, Skarmory. The one thing is, not a huge fan of your megas. Um, you got two of the new ones, but I don't think they're two of the good new ones, and they're kind of on the lower power end. So, um, they're still decent. It's just your real hitting hard stuff is probably your Great Tusk and Bundle here. It don't get me wrong, really nice team. I also think you could probably run a Sun variant. Like put Sunny Day on like Bronzong or one of your like Aerodactyl or something, and use it to set up your Slithering, Great Tusk, and Chi-Yu, because I feel like you could go pretty strong with that. Speed tiers actually quite nice. You got the two over 130s, a 110, 100, 90, 87. Like this is pretty good distribution of speeds. These are a little close together for my liking. Like if this was like a 70, that would be a lot better. But all in all, pretty nice. You got ooh, something I would recommend for you is a bulky water. Bundle is a nice water type. It's more of an offensive water type though. So, and a lot of times it's nice having a water type that you can just switch in and kind of help with things. Chiyu's a fantastic for the psychic spam too going on. It's bulky on the special defensive side, and it also resists fairy, I believe. Probably resists fairy, I think. So, um, all in all, not a bad draft. I like some of your values, like some of your lower point mons. Bramblegas, I think, is underrated a little bit. It's a little hard to use, but when you know how to use it, it's very strong. Same with Slithering. This just feels like it was underrated in my opinion. Yeah, so great pickup here. Um, and then Aerodactyl already said. So you got some really nice value picks. And then filling out your draft, you got Steel Fairy, Steel Flying, Grass, Water, Fire, um, Ground Fighting. Let's see. Is there anything you don't like? Um, I will say you don't like fire types a lot. You don't really have a great switch in for a um fire type move. So that might be a reason not to go Sunny Day, because it would just be like exploiting your own weakness. But because I think your best switch in is Aerodactyl, because I think that's your only fire resist right now. Unless you go heat proof bronzong, and then it's like a resistant, or not really a resistance, but neutral. So, and I guess Chiyu's resist fire, but you really don't like fire types. And you can go pretty offensive. Uh, but all in all, not bad. I think you're kind of in that like very B tier-ish, kind of like middle of the road right now on everything. But you got some things that I would fix up, especially having a kind of a big weakness to fire. From what I can tell. All right, this was the other contention for the best draft. It's probably has some of the scariest synergy, and I kind of hinted at it before. Double psychic terrain, Mega Alakazam, 150 base special or speed. It's like 170 special or something. It is crazy, and this is one of the reasons I've been recommending everyone get a nice dark type. Is there's so many of these really nice psychic types. I told you one of them earlier was the Mega Latios, and I feel like they're going to be kind of very scary mons to switch in on. So all in all, pretty nice. This one, Savali, kind of like covers any weakness. Like it can be whatever type you need for the week. You got your Dragon Fairy Steel Core. You got nice switch-ins for your dark type since you are double psychic. Um, Nidoqueen, that was something I was kind of looking at getting. But kind of thankful for my week for Clodsire for myself. But I was looking for a Poison Ground, and I think I was debating between Nidoking, Nidoqueen, and Clodsire, and you kind of took Nidoqueen in the last couple picks. So all in all, pretty nice draft. You got Ogerpon for cleanup duty, Alakazam to just break and be scary. Like, y'all better have a game plan for that Alakazam because that thing's going to run shop on teams. I'm not going to be surprised if that's the kill leader for the entire season. And that Alakazam with Tapu Lele setting terrain for it, it is going to go ham on people. So I hope you got a dark type that can take psychic and fighting and a dazzling gleam from that thing because it is one of the scariest things that was drafted. So and then you got Iron Hands to kind of like back it up with Umbreon to kind of just take out the dark types that you're worried about. Nidoqueen's a nice ground and poison type. So all in all, very good team. You got some nice hazard mons and Nidoqueen, Registeel, and Ogerpon. Cleanup is with Tapu and Salamence, I think. Don't quote me on defog on Nash decks. I know very little. So next team. Effie, my week one matchup. Mega Raichu Y. No guard plus Zap Cannon is scary. Plus having access to like Surf, and I think Grass Knot. This thing is going to be problematic for people. And it's going to give a lot of people headaches. And then you got pretty nice speed of 113, 103. I would have liked like an 80 or 70 speed tier somewhere here, but not terrible. Water, fire, grass. You got your steel, fairy, dragon. So got nice type coverage, poison, ground. All in all, pretty nice throughout. With a Mega Raichu to kind of put fear in everyone. Like that is definitely your scariest mon. I would have liked a second scary mon. You'll notice that most of the S tiers will have two scary mons. Zama and Floette for me on Terra, And Alakazam and Tapu Lele is for really no idea. Both psychics, so again, dark types. People draft your dark types. We had a joke going for Hattrene that tier needs Crocodile because they did not draft enough dark types for, in my opinion. um, so you got a nice bulky dark and an Incineroar. One problem with Fire Dark is you're going to be running into Focus Blast Gaming against a lot of the good psychics. So, all in all, pretty nice team. Um, yeah, it is decent. I would have liked one more threat here or there, and a little bit more to kind of go through. Oh, hey Fritz.
So
I'm kind of just going through the tiers right now. I skipped myself.
I see.
Did you want to comment on this team?
Um, the only thing I can really say is just like Ensign is gonna be asked to do a lot here. It is your only like real fire resist. Um, and like you're only like really good like knock absorber. And I would just really like to have like a second mon to do that because Ensign's recovery is
Leftovers.
tenuous at best. Exactly. Leftovers or citrus basically every single time. And it's a mon that gets forced into boots a lot. And with boots, it gets pretty easily chipped down anyways.
Yeah,
Uh, but like, this is still a really good team. It's just if you're facing a good like fire type, your team's gonna pretty quickly like crumble if it can't take it out fast.
I was commenting though because I was commenting on the Incineroar part of it's going to have to handle the psychic types for you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So your draft or you're hinging a lot on Incineroar being good here and of like just soaking up a lot of hits for you. So
Yeah, and the problem with Emp is the same problem with Incin of when it's trying to check those psychics, it still is fearing the focus blast that they love to run.
yeah, the problem it there's not a ton of like unless you're getting a poison dark, you're gonna have one move that you're gonna have to fear, and I'd rather it be focus blast where it has a 30% chance to miss. So, because
Especially since you got Chestnut to back you up here
yeah,
with its bulletproof.
so you could play like mind games with them of Chestnut and Incineroar on the focus blast. So I'm not too worried about it, but you do bring up a valid point of Incineroar is your resistance to a lot of things, and it is going to be taking a lot of chip, and you don't have like a good wish pass mon to like keep it healthy or a secondary mon to kind of like back it up.
Right.
Um, so I guess did you want to comment on any of the other teams I was talking about beforehand, or I for this team I was gonna put in B tier. I can show you like what the other teams looking at. In that I have one other team right now in that tier. So this was one tier above it. Brooks team, you got the Chimpao, Mega Barnacle, Tapu Fini. So I kind of like this team a little bit more. I don't know if you agree. And then this is the team that put in the same tier. It also has the same fire weakness, which is kind of funny. I might switch the tier to weak to fire.
That would be pretty nice actually. That's pretty
uh,
funny.
yeah. So that so far is the team. Seto Kaiba, he came in the middle of the draft, so he kind of missed out on the really nice 20 to 18 point tier mons, and
That's rough.
yeah, he missed his first 3 picks because he was a replacement coach for someone. So he made 3 picks
What were the
back.
first three picks for this team?
Charizard,
Zard?
I think it was Charizard, Scream, and Ursaluna. I want to say.
Okay.
I think he was.
Zard, I guess I kind of get if you really want to commit to Sun, except then you turn around and don't commit to Sun.
Yeah, he seems kind of all over the draft um, about what he was planning
Pex
on doing.
is being really Pex in draft in general. I just don't like believe in draft specifically. But like even Pex on this specific team is really weird. I get it, grounded poison, except you already have your bulky water in Wake, um, and it's gonna do a lot more for this team.
I think the biggest problem I have with this team is your gap between 150 speed.
Oh wow, I didn't even peep that at first. That is
Yeah, you got a lot of nice
uh,
top end. Though I made the comment before of I really like a 130 plus speed in Nash decks because there's a ton of them, and when you don't, it means you're gonna have to run Scarf or something to kind of compensate for that.
I
Hello,
see.
people.
Hello.
But the biggest problem I think in this team is this 50 to 100 gap is going to just wreck you. And you have like a semi Sun team, but then you also have only Mega Charizard as your Sun Setter. And I don't think any of the Megas are really good for weather setting for anyone else besides themselves.
Yeah, I'm looking at the tier list and I'm seeing that literally every single mon up to 16 points got taken. So like your first option for like fixing this team is in the 15 pointers.
Yeah,
Um which is a little rough. Um I don't even know where you even like really start with solving this. I mean like it's kind of neat that you have like Jugulus to support, or at least to take advantage of the E terrain. It's kind of neat to have like Wake and Zard Y together. But then like after that, it's just like and Screamtail also takes advantage of Sun. That's but like past that, it's just this draft's all over the place, and it doesn't
it doesn't
like
have
really
focus on
yeah,
what you.
it doesn't have focus. There's it's not that any of these mons are bad. Like all of these mons like objectively can work in draft, but there's like literally zero team cohesion.
Now, sometimes it's good not to like go full on for gimmick, but going for two is, yeah, as you say, you're just unable to do one thing right.
So I think this would be the only team I would put in the D tier. I don't know if you guys would object to that.
No, I agree. I don't understand fair form with Sun. So much pressure on Saktazar because Metazard Y and Ursula know your big hitters, and you need to make sure there's no rocks on the field.
Yeah.
I think the first thing though I would fix is this gap because right now all the 90 plus speed bonds are going to be running like 0 speed plus adamant plus modest and a bunch of HP here.
Honestly, if I was this guy, I would like probably pivot and I like if you go with a gimmick, you should never like be fully reliant on that gimmick. That is a big thing, but like I would honestly try to lean into Sun more, drop like Raichu. I know that Raichu X is like, the new toy and it's fun, but like Roaring Moon is on the board and that is just like going to objectively be able to come to more games, and provide better focus even if Sun doesn't actually come, it would be better and give this team a bit more focus.
I think dropping the Jugulus and Raichu kind of also helps because you got a huge
Oh, yeah.
congestion here of speeds of 111, 110, 109, 108. It's just like, yeah, you got speed, but you might struggle on the bulk department because you're going to run into a lot of people just they they're not going to respect your speed tiers. Okay, next one is Monkey draft team. You got the Mega Greninja, Spectre, Zebstrika, Mancho, Jirachi, Nidoking, Terapagos, Clefable, Quilladin, Wishiwashi. I think I said this for the Hattrene one, and I think Mega Greninja is just worse than regular Greninja. Um, I'd rather have the item on it than to be Mega'd is my problem. I've also run Spectre, and I think it's kind of solved on how to deal with the Spectre by a lot of people. So it it's pretty nice, but there's a common solution that everyone does for a Spectre, and you can kind of expect it to come every week that you're running.
Get your bulky,
Bul-
get your normal, or get your bulky dark. Yeah.
Bulky normal or
Yeah,
dark type.
but yeah, a lot of people don't have normal types, and some players draft if they draft the dark type, that's it. But if it's, for example, like a Weavile, yeah, if you literally can't run any bulk on it, then you can be a bit susceptible to it. So this is Hatterene, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is second to highest
Alright.
tier. Um, Something I've been recommending for a lot of teams when they don't have like a somewhat bulky dark type. I don't consider Mega Greninja a bulky dark. Is there's a lot of good psychic types or a lot of reasons to have a good dark type, and I think you're missing it here. Um, you can also you got to worry about like pursuit and stuff. So, having a dark type like a little muck over here for turtle is quite scary. Um, to not have something for it. Because that's the other thing with Spectre is it's one of those mods that you pursuit trap with a good dark type.
Yeah, not that is meant to. At least the Spectre Willow, it does no.
Yeah, it
this
has
one was-
Willow.
At least you can do that. But
Um,
I don't like the fact that this is a 7-mon team.
I don't really
It's-
like that it's just a ton of monotypes stacked together. Monotype inherently isn't like a bad thing, but this team is like 90% monotype. You're gonna struggle to answer a lot of like dual stab options.
that's true. I also don't like that you're like kind of heavy on like the top end speed and you don't have a lot of mixture throughout. Because I think you're kind of missing on bulky mons. Like you got Clefable and sort of Terapagos as your bulk, and then everything else is kind of like not that bulky.
Rachi.
Rachi you can build bulky.
Rachi, but like your one real knock absorber is Clef. If Clef goes down, this is intensely knock weak, and I'm not counting Mega Gren because that mon has no bulk.
You're not counting Regen Minshao?
Also has no bulk.
I think you're just lacking bulk here, especially like bulky pivots. Because I don't think you, besides Clefable, I don't think you really want to be like pivoting through Terapagos or pivoting through Jirachi. The only one I can see you wanting to pivot through is Clefable.
It's just way too top heavy point wise, this team. And it's weird because it feels odd to even run this team as heavy offense.
Yeah, I feel like you have to run it though as heavy offense because you don't have the bulk to run like a more balanced game plan. As far as like the types, you don't double up on it because you have so many monotypes. Um, I do wish you had a bulkier water. That's something I like having in draft. Is I know you have Greninja, but that's not bulky water, and you have a Wishy Washy. But are you actually going to bring Wishy Washy? um, you also probably would like a Dragon type here. Get yourself a Kingdra.
Okay, maybe not.
Okay. Where would you guys
Maybe not a
rank?
Kingdra.
I would have this at
Uh,
like bottom of B.
I don't know about the other teams, but I was saying this would be like mid C.
Yeah, big B or C. It's not great, but you do have to do an annoying amount of prep if you're facing this
Yeah,
team, to just make sure that you don't get snowballed because you have a lot of snowball threats here.
So this was a C tier team that I had, and this was a B tier team. To give you reference.
I definitely prefer Vortex team.
Okay. So
Yeah, we can put it in the C.
they're here.
It's a scary team to build against. We had a similar thing in Gmax. There was a guy who had like a horrendous team to build against, and you're just worried about everything on the team. But from a draft perspective and trying to team build and the draft, I would say that is not what this is.
Okay.
Now this team I actually do really like. It feels like it definitely could have gotten itself a second high tier mon. It kind of like lost out on that, I suppose. But honestly, you're getting Mega Meganium, which in my opinion is kind of a steal at 13. Um, you have a good secondary Mega in Mega Gira. You have some pretty good utility options. My main concern is like your primary wall breaker here, like truly like wall breaker is like Mega Meta. And Mega Meta, or not even Mega Meta, sorry, just regular Metagross. It has a lot of things it's super effectively weak against, and not a lot of speed to make up for it.
That's why a very popular build is just agility weakness policy.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna struggle with speedy mons. This is like the exact opposite of Monkey's team of like this is all offense. This is kind of like all defense in my opinion. You're this is gonna be a very stally game whenever you go up against it because you guys got so much bulk here and not a lot of breaking power. I think your breakers are like Metagross and maybe your Megas, and then gouging
And
if you set
gouge
up with.
even. Yeah, well, this is gonna be, I think, you're gonna bring either D-Dance Gouge or D-Dance Gyarados, and one of them's gonna be your sweepers, and then you're gonna try and break with the others, and
Yeah.
Alolan Ninetales is gonna be pivotal for just survival.
I just think you're gonna kind of struggle with people's top end speed here because right now you only have a Alolan Ninetales of
Wait, did this
above
guy not
100.
draft a Ghost type?
Um,
No.
they don't have a ghost type.
So, oh my god. So you're okay. I don't like the fact that they drafted Screams and didn't have a Ghost type for Brit Break.
Yeah, I also don't like that you drafted Quillfish without a ghost type because that's mostly just there to set hazards for PU. I do think you have the best dark type for this meta in a little muck. I've been preaching get yourself a dark type, and this is like the premium dark type to for everything because of that poison dart. I guess I'm not a huge fan of this team, but I don't know what your guys is like. I would probably put it in the C tier. Maybe I should move you up.
There's some things I like about it, but I think it has some big holes. Like, a lot of Ninetales plus Pylo Swine, I think is actually a great combo. Pylo Swine can be just immensely annoying.
I don't know. I actually do really like it. I think you've got like your main problem is that it's kind of your opponents don't really have to prep nearly as hard for like specific like wall breaker threats, but there's a lot of setup, and you are annoyingly pretty much all of your mons. I'm ignoring the trap inch here, obviously, but like all of your mons are like sneakily have pretty good bulk, so you're gonna be like tough to wear down. But unlike a lot of bulky teams where it's just like picking up Stallmon after Stallmon, like they actually can like hit you back. Um, Still, there's a lot of things here that are like decent but not amazing at their jobs, and there's so many of them that it kind of like brings down the overall quality of the draft. Like I would have liked to see a bit more like specialization, maybe like one more like high tier pickup. So I'm gonna say like pretty solid B tier. Just
Okay,
like
Yeah,
I was thinking B tier too, but
I was thinking bottom B, some of that, yeah.
I was thinking bottom B, top of C, so that works for me. Especially since we C tier's kind of getting congested. Um, Marili's draft. I'll be honest, I like a lot of like your picks here. I like Iron Valor, Garchomp, Tentacruel, Moltres, Rillaboom, Goldango, Scizor, Garganacl. So a lot of just really good mons. Again, I'm a little worried with your top end speed. You're gonna kind of struggle with a lot of teams since you are besides the previous team. There's no other team that you'll have them on that guaranteed outspeeds things. So you're just gonna kind of struggle. You got nice type synergies. One thing, um, Mega Malmar as your only dark type kind of scares me a little bit.
Especially as, like, it's still not a ghost resist.
Yeah, it's not a ghost
Although he
resist.
actually has a ghost resist. Sorry, he actually does have a ghost resist.
Oh, and Garganacl, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of dark types and or not a lot of dark types. There's a lot of psychic types, and having your only dark type be a 3-point mon is a little nerve wracking to me. Because I think you need to bring it for like half the games, and that you have to play.
He's got some very bulky steel types for psychic types, and like the main reason if he wouldn't have such steel types is not to get swept by a random stored power set. Pure stored power set, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I'd say that I'd have to keep in mind. But
I'm gonna be completely honest here. You need to just like the Mega Malamar it's funny, but like you just gotta honestly like retool like one of these mons, like one of these like other ones, to like get the requisite like one extra point um because like Mega Sizz is 18 points. Regular Scizor plus like Malamar is 3. This team would just be like so much better if it had like Mega Scizor over the base one.
it can definitely downgrade Rilla. I'm not huge on Rilla plus Chomp, since Chomp doesn't get high horsepower.
Yeah.
That's fair. And I agree that you probably want a different mega because right now your only mega is Mega Malamar. So I like the idea of go get Mega Scizor and like downgrade someone to so you get an extra point so you can keep your 9-point mons. But overall, I think it's a decent team. There's some flaws. Um,
Yeah, it's slightly slow, but sometimes Val teams actually have that happening a lot. That Val's your fastest mon, and then a lot of the times you'll just go to speed booster Val, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I actually also am not huge of a fan of the fact that he has 4 mons between 84 and 90. That feels very congested for an odd speed stat.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
Like downgrade real line. Go get like Tangrowth. Go get Ogerpon if depending on like which,
That's
aspect,
free.
I guess, of Rilla you wanted. More of like the bulk or more of the offensive grass. And
the
just go get your Mega Sizz, and this team would become so much better. You're playing essentially a Mon down with Mega Malamar. That Mon is insanely fake.
the one thing I do like about Rillaboom is it's really nice to have Grassy Glide priority and be able to switch terrains on some of the terrain teams. There's
He's not. This team isn't lacking priority. Yeah, they have Bullet Punch, Scissor, Vacuuming, Val,
yeah. So you can get rid
and
of
in
this
draft.
and downgrade it. I'm just saying I don't think Rillaboom's a bad mon. It's just like you probably not necessary for your team
I
right
think in
now.
draft it's overrated if you can't utilize the terrain, because in draft any flying type I find just a full walls with that.
You can even downgrade the Garg. Without Terra, it's a lot weaker. But just like regardless, like
Then he needs to get a dose resist.
that's true. That's true.
Um, besides
I'd
Gar-
still put this in like a B tier.
Besides that, it's just like it is actually like a really good draft. It's right
Top
on
of
like
B
the
tier.
cusp of being amazing.
yeah,
Top
it
of B tier, bottom of A.
which
I
one
feel
are
like still like bottom of A maybe.
I I was thinking top of B, bottom of A, and since we have 3 in B right now, we'll put you in the bottom of A just to keep things. Next one's Pyrotech. Um, for this one, I like the Mega Pyro. I think that was super undercosted for what it is. It's going to be a nice kind of breaker for your team. That's decently fast. Um, Darkrai's not bad. Mega Diancie. I'm not a huge fan of Mega Diancie, but it's all right. I don't like Palafin Hero. Um, I think I've been that way since its release. I just think it's too linear of game planning. Shaman's kind of a nice bulky grass for you. Raging Bolt is a really nice mon. Um,
Bolt and like I'm also not a big fan of Palafin, but Bolt and Palafin genuinely goes insanely well together. Because not only obviously like Bolt absorbs all the electric moves, it doesn't care about T Wave, it doesn't like it can't get parried, it doesn't care about Wisp. Um, but both of them are such immense breakers that um they demand that like walls for one have to have at least a few more defensive Vs for the other, which inherently makes them like more prone to getting chipped down between the two of them, especially considering they can just keep pivoting between one and the other.
I don't like the fact that for a Palafin team you don't have the best like turn one switching. Because most Palafin teams will, lead Palafin, yeah.
yeah,
And
Get
then
the
try to
hero
switch into
form.
something else. I see
And
what you
try,
mean.
and a lot of times, because it's so easy to read that you can lead with, let's say, an electric or a grass type, or just a fat Mon, and you just don't have the best of that bulky Mon to switch into, because you're really relying on just throwing Storm.
that's kind of my problem with Palafin teams is you almost always have to lead it or like sack them on, let it come in, flip turn out, just to like activate it, and I just don't like that like line and pathing. I do like how many breakers this team has. It's just like breaker after breaker. So defensive cores are going to struggle against this because they just have so many mods that are just good at putting out damage. You don't have a lot of like bulk to go along with it. So you got some good bulk and like Skarmory, Mudsdale, and even Raging Bolt's pretty bulky. Um,
And then
but it's not like your traditional bulky mons of like your regen Alamola or Slow Kings where they can. Those are the type of mon that I would kind of want for this is like something with regen that you can use to help your Palfin get in and out, help your Mega Diancie, help your Raging Bolt and all that, switch in and out across the team. Bulky, slow pivot,
Yeah.
regen, that type of thing.
Right.
As far as like typing, I think you doing pretty good on like good.
That of a poison.
Oh, they are lacking a poison.
They're lacking any poison, no, but grounded poison.
Yeah. Be careful of T spikes. You also don't really have a good steel switch in.
Where's your removal? Like, which I know, like Skarm and Mega Diancie, right? Like Mega Diancie can help keep them off in the first place. Skarm's a pretty decent defogger, but like Skarm's also incredibly easy to predict, like what it's gonna do when it's gonna come in. Um, Pretty easy to hit with a Fire Blast or a Thunderbolt, especially in that decks where a lot more stuff gets coverage.
Yeah. Being Nash decks and not having a ton of defog / rapid spinners is kind of like hard to do. And it looks like they only have Skarmory. I'm not too versed in who all has defog and
No, and none of the other guys here get defog or
okay.
spin. Um, like it's a lot more of a problem because you're wanting to support Mega Pyroar, and even like tangentially, um, Palafin, bolts don't like taking the chip, and with Rye, its bulk is decent, but like rocks will get it into range of a lot of stuff. You want a lot more help keeping things off, in my opinion. You went a little bit too hard with the budget mons here with like Trev, Mudsdale, Sock.
I do like Mudsdale a lot. I agree on like the Sock and Trevenant. You probably could have used that to get yourself a 7-point defogger / rapid spinner. Are y'all thinking like B tier?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, like you could literally just like trade in the Sock and the Trevenant for like Decidueye or something like that.
Okay. We got the Mega Lopunny team. With Shaman Sky, Espeon, Rotom Heat, Vaporeon, Celestia. Wow, there's a lot of just slow mons here.
I've not
65,
seen
61.
somebody draft 3 different
That
Healing
many
Wish
slow
models.
mons, and I know like Dittos doesn't really matter, but even
Yeah.
still, where is your Trick Room, dude? This could go insanely hard in Trick Room.
Espeon.
Like I said, where's your Trick Room?
You hope your opponent brought it and you bring Ditto.
Yeah, exactly.
I do agree. Like this looks like a Trick Room team, but forgot to draft a Trick Room on. But I will admit, Mega Lopunny is very good. Um, it has pretty nice like synergies like throughout on things, and it's just like a nice speed to deal with things. Um, I think Shaman Sky is a little bit of a fraud. I think
A lot bit of a fraud.
we have an annoying Mon tax on it.
He doesn't have a bunch of knockoffers to support Strymon.
Yeah, well, Craw is a good knockoffer, but it's also like it clicks knock to kill. It doesn't click it to for like util. It
Yeah.
can't like knock a bunch of stuff. I don't know when like things were drafted because I know it was the doc was reordered for the purposes of like showing like speed tiers better.
Mm-hmm.
But I really would have liked this team to have grabbed the hat first instead of Espeon. That would have done wonders in my opinion. And like you could have gotten a different 110 pretty easily.
I think
Hatterene would have just fixed a lot more issues.
if you're not going Trick Room, I would have gotten rid of some of these slower filler mons. Of you probably get rid of like Delmise for a different ghost type. Get rid of the Ditto. I know Ditto's fun, but it's not that good. um, it's a fun mon, but
Wait, this guy has no hazards.
that is true. I don't know what your game plan is with no hazards, unless again Ditto hope you get your opponent's hazard mon.
No spikes, no rods, no T-spikes, no poison type. Again, I'm not a big fan of Crawdon being the dark type. It's not gonna even live a dazzling gleam from psychic types.
Yeah, there's a lot of just like stuff you want to fix on the team. You got a couple good mons, and then you just have a lot of holes. And
Yeah, there's some like I think this guy has like 5 fantastic ones. Lop, Diamond, Rotom, Vap, Celesteela. And the rest have to be reworked.
yeah, I agree. Um, the ones I would keep are like Lopunny, Stila, which I think were your first two picks. I like Ursaluna Moon. And probably like Rotom Heat, Vape, and then probably rework the rest.
I don't like Blood Moon. That aren't ground types.
Yeah, I think you cut out there for me.
They're gonna have a difficult time finding rockers that aren't ground types. Therefore, I think they might have to get rid of Blood Moon, not to keep on having so many browns.
That's fair. If they, especially since you're Celesteela, like your typical rockers are like your ground and steel types, and right now both of them don't have rocks.
Yeah, this could benefit from like maybe like a Yurtzi or Mesprit, and like a weird normal type.
Yeah. Um, where are y'all thinking on this?
I don't know. At first, I liked it because there's a lot of ones I like, but I think as a draft team, actually, it's bad.
This is like C. This is just like middle of
Yeah.
C, honestly. You have a or even bottom. You have good threats to be annoying at least. Like you can definitely cheese some games, and Mega Lop and Celesteela are very respectable, but after that you lost the plot.
Yeah, these aren't in order of anything. It's just like when you guys showed up. I think the only one I put in order was this one because I really liked it, but it was like missing a better dark type to be S.
Yeah.
This was probably my third favorite team. That wasn't my own. After the draft of just like looking at things, because you had two really standout mons for your first two picks of Mega Delphox and Meowscarada. And then you got a lot of just like good mons in Primarina, King Gambit. Um, I think I'm a huge fan of Thundy as a breaker for the team, and you got some good value. Does Zygarde get like stealth rocks?
No.
I'd probably switch out Zygarde then.
He does rocks through Fortress and Gambit.
Yeah, but Gambit you never want to click rock, so um, I think I would switch Zygarde for something else that gets rocks. I know you probably drafted it because you wanted both ground and dragon, but I would make a switch somewhere. Maybe like drop Muck and Zygarde, pick up Galgi, and I don't know what a ground type that would fit in there for that. Um, I do think you probably need this has defog, right? Thundy.
Yes.
And then you got Fortress with Rapid Spin. So you're okay on hazard clearance. I would like one more since Delphox really does not like stealth rocks.
Yeah,
The
this
nice
seems to
the,
be
the, the, the nice bit
reinforced all
is
the time.
The nice bit is like Fortress, despite no reliable recovery, is still like one of the most consistent like removal options. And this team has so much offense that it's like a question of like when will you even have a chance to like get those hazards up?
Yeah, that is true. Um, I like Fortress a lot. It's the problem with Fortress is it's kind of like got one set and it's rapid spin, spikes, volt switch, and you got like one free move.
You're sleeping on Choice Span Explosion, bro.
Okay, explosion.
Yeah, no.
But you kind of just run those three moves every week and call it a day. Um, and you probably don't even click the fourth move that often. Maybe like a body press if you need like fighting coverage.
There are
Yeah.
AD sets you can run on it. That's T-Wave, doesn't it? I think there's
Meow does
more
a
to it
lot
than
here. I am really liking the Meow pick.
Yeah. Um, Overall, I like it a lot. The one change I would make is I would change out Zygarde. And probably when I'm doing that, I would probably switch Muck and Zygarde out for like Trigalgy and a ground type. I don't know what's around like 9 points for good grounds that are available. Um,
Flygon's there. The
Hippowdon might be
yeah, good
nice.
grounds.
But that would be like my one recommendation on the team. Um, Otherwise, I think the team is pretty nice as is.
Gambit is
No,
is kind of weaker in draft. You can prep for it a lot better, but it's still
it's still the
solid here.
same.
It gives you a lot of bulk. Um,
This team has
Sucker Mind
enough
games are just
offense
fundamentally difficult.
to
To
literally allow King Gambit to win the Sucker Punch.
Yeah. And besides, Sucker Mind games are always in the Gambit user's favor.
Y'all thinking
Yeah, it's
bottom of
always,
A
yeah.
tier?
Yep.
I mean, if you're just doing it in order of when they appear, then yeah, this is A tier.
Yeah. All right.
And then let's look at yours.
Yeah, I didn't rate my own because I knew I would be biased.
Well,
wait, you don't Meta Stormy's sixth pick.
yeah, he
Was I even
did
not safe?
somehow.
What the?
No one
Let's
apparently
change
wanted to
him.
deal with having to
Oh.
land focus blasts. Or sorry, not the focus blasts. No one else just wanted to deal with like the new toy syndrome, I suppose. I was thinking.
No
I
one
was
wanted
looking
to
at the Mega
draft
Exam when I
bulk
saw that.
ups. I can't use bulk up. It's fair.
Oh, he can't use bulk up. If only you had a reason. If only you had a pivoting move, so you didn't have to deal with bad matchups. Wait a minute.
It gets flip term.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just say this: any physical dart type of pursuit is coming banded against you for Meta
Yeah,
Stormy and Nautios.
the only mon that outspeeds you in this entire draft, I'm pretty sure, is the Mega Zam, and you have Scarf Ape pretty safely for that. Even honestly, even like Spadef, Mandibuzz, Chople, Heatran, you have options to wallet. There's like there's just really not a lot wrong with the team.
I think I did pretty good for using a spinning wheel to pick my
You
types.
really did, yeah.
I did fix
Not
a lot of
awfully
it in
happy about the
Grace.
lack of a fairy.
Hey, the wheel wasn't that kind to me to let me spin fairy, okay?
Yeah, your knockoff absorber doesn't really want to be taking knocks. Like Mandy wants to keep its boots.
Yeah, it would
Is the
like its
one thing
boots,
I'm gonna
but
ding you on.
honestly, I could just let Claude take them, the knocks.
You could.
Also, Annihilate doesn't really care for its item,
I
and it's
I'm a
disagree with
huge
you
neutral.
on
fan.
that.
It's fine.
It
I
loves
think.
its item.
My favorite Annihilate set is Resto Chesto, so it
I'd not be heading, but I would say that this is S tier.
yeah.
It is.
I think I cooked with it. The nice thing with The reason I drafted Zeraora was just for the speed, because I didn't think I was going to have a chance at something that high speed later in the draft, and I had to take it. Okay. Well, I'll post this and let them know. Thanks, y'all. And unless, Fritz, did you want to look at any of the early ones that you missed? I guess I'll take that as a no. All right. Bye.